And welcome back, everyone. Awesome Games Done Quick 2017. Charity going towards Prevent Cancer Foundation. I got a couple of donations to read before we start setting up for our interview. I have a $100 donation from Sir Pello saying, every end of the year I play this game and watching you for first time playing it is amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, and can we get more for you? We have a random $250 donation from Anonymous that is blank. But thank you so much for your donation. We have a $30 donation from Angel18 that says, donation goes to host choice strictly for the most adorable noise I've ever heard since the Paper Mario run last year with Twink. Oh my god, it's Twink. I miss Twink. Now we're going to go ahead and shoot you guys to our interview for the 1,000-Year Door with Spike. Take it away.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back to AGDQ 2017. I am Spike Vegeta. I am joined by Cent Dash, the prize man. Hope you're doing well. And also, two runners coming up from one of the most popular Paper Mario games out there. We've got Almo and Soric about to do a co-op run for that. I've got a question here from Crit Rockets. If you were a door, how many years would you be?
1,000, of course.
Hell yeah.
Probably be 1,000 as well, and that's a rather ignorant question.
If any of you have any questions on Twitter to send to our runners and you want to potentially get roasted, make sure you get them in right now. Guys, we're going to do Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door. Now, a couple years ago, this was done for the first time ever in a GDQ, and it was run by you, Almo. The run was sitting around like 5 hours, 37 minutes, I believe, or so.
Yep, that's right.
A great run by you, but you yourself, it was a struggle to get that run in, right?
Yeah, the length is probably one of the harder things to get into a GDQ, especially now. So much volume of the submissions, and so just such long games are really tough.
Yeah, after you get over a couple hours, they're already fighting with you. Did you think it would never get back in after that one performance of it?
Not really, because there's constantly stuff being found in this game, and it's just continued for the last several years. So because the game had evolved so much, we felt now that would be a really appropriate time to submit it again.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about, so people might, again, you might wonder, all right, so that was 5 hours, 37 minutes. Your estimate's like 3.5 hours now.
Yep.
Almo, Soric, tell me just a little bit about, I guess, the history, like what happened to this game? Because obviously it's very different now.
So back in 2012, when I started playing this game, the people who were glitch hunting were not very effective at it, and just over time...
Sorry, we're roasting, we're roasting. It's fine.
Well,
That's the theme of this interview.
Over time, people learned more about the game, especially through Malio tasking the game several times and just finding the way that a lot of things worked. And so we just got more effective at glitch hunting, and so it's just been constant finds of just using different techniques. Some of it's luck, just stumbling across something, like you would find glitches in any game.
So with that being said, Soric, you know, like a lot of people probably know Almo coming into this. A lot of people might not know you. How long have you been running the game for?
I did my first run in November of 2013.
Oh, okay.
It's been kind of on and off since.
So would you say all of the new glitches and everything, including a pretty big one, Palace Skip, did that sort of propel you to the top? Do you feel better at executing these glitches?
I'm kind of nervous about like going into this run with all
Sure.
the glitches, but I don't know. I can't really answer that question well.
Sure. I mean, again, this game has been broken in so many different ways. Coming up is, for a lot of people, and I'm not trying to put that extra pressure on you, it's GDQ, but this is one of the holy grails of speedrun skips. It is the Palace Skip. Saves you how much time?
It's about 80 minutes in conjunction with a lot of other stuff found.
We're excited in speedrunning when we find a trick that saves like a minute. That is like a crazy thing. We just found 80 of those in one trick. Are you putting a little extra pressure on yourself to make sure? I know you're the one who's going to have to execute that.
Well, I would be super nervous about it, but if stuff goes horribly wrong, we're probably just going to let it save after.
Sure.
but that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's good that we're, no matter what, we're going to have a backup saver. We're going to be able to get
Takes
through
the
it.
pressure off.
Sure. How are you guys splitting up this run? Are you just doing a standard half and half?
So we initially were going to do that, but then it's really imbalanced with everything in the run. So we're splitting it up into quarters. So I'll be doing the first and third, and he'll be doing the second and fourth.
Okay.
It's evenly split on time. The most tricks are split up, so we're doing about half and half, and we're also doing sections that we like. So he's doing parts that I just do not want to deal with, and I'm doing the same for him.
Sure. So with that theme, let's go ahead and ask you guys. We're going to, again, go to some of our Twitter questions right now. Kind of fits into this first one from Yo Shills. What is your favorite chapter during the run? I'll have each of you guys answer that.
You go.
So I know he disagrees with me, but my favorite's chapter 2.
Oh, okay, so I guess that was easy to split that up. You got it. Chapter 2. There you go. There you go.
My favorite's chapter 8, which he's actually doing, but I just think chapter 8 is really interesting because there's so many things in it. It's even though it's really late into the run, there's just one thing after another of either some technique or a small skip or a glitch that you use. So there's a lot of stuff going on right at the end, right up until the boss rush.
This game is obviously what we've been talking about. It has been busted nearly half as long as the last time we saw it. But I have a question here from Flips MCL. We're speedrunners. We don't ever want to let it just sit there. If you could add a single glitch to the game, whatever it is, what would it be and why? I'll say, what's just the part? I mean, he said he likes chapter 2. You don't like chapter 2.
Yeah.
Skipping chapter 2?
That would be nice.
right.
We're actually sort of close to that because there is a route that we're not using now, but we can use, and we can skip one of the 2 major abilities that you get in that chapter. So if there were a way to skip the other one, then there would be no reason to enter the chapter. So
Sure.
we're fairly close to that. So that'd be cool.
I'm sorry. Apparently he's trying to cut out your favorite chapter. What part would you cut out if there's any one part that you just really don't like about the run?
So if you were able to get to the back of Pasha's Sanctum without the Ultra Boots on the English version of the game, which is a separate speedrun category, you could basically just skip all the boring stuff.
But you can do it in the in another version, is what you're saying?
Well,
Or-
you don't even have to go there.
Oh wow. Okay. And you guys which version are you guys running today?
We will be playing on the Japanese
The
version.
Japanese version. Is it majorly different from the US version?
Yes. So back when I did my SGDQ 2014 run, we thought that they were pretty similar and just slight differences here and there in text. And then when Ultra Hammer Early got found, which was the first big skip on Japanese, we took the time to actually glitch hunt in it, and there are probably around 100 differences. Some major, some minor, some are just aesthetic differences, but
Wow.
there's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a huge list online now.
Oh,
It keeps
really?
getting
Of
bigger.
all of the breakdown of everything? Which one do you think is more, if I want to be a 1,000-year door runner right now, I'm going to learn it tonight, would you say US or Japanese version?
I think both have their merits. I think you could look at it from a time standpoint. Japanese is definitely better. I think English is an easier entry category if you're just getting into it or you're just first learning speedrunning.
Sure.
I think that's a good category. So they're very different routes. That's one of
Right.
the things I really like about this game.
Sure, it kind of keeps it a little bit fresh for each of you.
Yep.
I want to ask both of you guys again, just real quick. So going into 2017, after you finish up this run right here, a lot of year left. Anything particularly we look forward from you guys on your own streams? Is it going to be more 1,000-year door? I know you've run some other Paper Marios yourself.
Yeah, probably a lot of 1,000-year door, and eventually other Paper Marios too. That's
Okay.
mostly what I stream. So.
I'll probably be doing 1,000-year door as well.
1,000-year door. We got 2 committed runners right here, guys. If you love what you see tonight, be sure to check out both of their streams. You're going to get a lot of 1,000-year door action. I want to real quick kick it over to Send. We got Link to the Past coming up right here. Got any Zelda-themed prizes for us?
Oh, do I have some Zelda-themed prizes for you guys? I'm super excited to see the Link to the Past run. Always a great run. Looking to be a great race. So real quick, we have these classic Zelda Perlers. Too many to hold at the same time. We have, a nice Dodongo, little Octorok
Nice
there,
little Octorok.
and of course it's always dangerous to go alone.
Right, of course.
So that's why these all come together. It's a
All right.
single Perler there, sent to us by Abby Normal, and that's going to be $5 during the Link to the Past run. Whoop. Forgot the game we were playing.
It's during the one of those Zeldas, you know.
Yeah, they're Zeldas. We also have this iron-on heart container patch.
Nice.
We have a whole bunch of Zelda-themed accessories sent to us by eMister. You know, we have so many nice things sitting around here, multiple PS4s, all kinds of these wonderful plushies, and I'm still really awkward because I think, man, these are cute bows. I'm just saying, you know, really when it comes down to it, those are some cute bows.
Man, if there's one prize I want to win as a dude, send me them bows.
I mean, there's also this Triforce Heroes coin purse, several sets of earrings that unfortunately will not show up on camera at all, and this keychain. And this might be one of my favorite keychains ever because, you know, on the surface it's okay, yeah, sure, it's just the Master Sword, it's the Hylian shield, but
Yo,
sword
you can
comes
actually
out.
pull it out of the sheath.
Yep, and you can sheath it right back in. Oh, I missed. All right, nobody give me a sword.
Uh-oh. That prize is off limits now, we're sorry.
We also have a quick little pack of stuff here. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it all on camera, but it comes with a lovely print, a nice T-shirt based on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and a scarf based on Legend of Zelda here, along with a copy of the Hyrule Historia.
Wow.
And last but not least, it has been running for a little while. Got to bend over for this one.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But we do have a PlayStation 4 Pro here, sent in to us by Cheap Ass Gamer. So thank you guys so much for that. That's going to be $30, and that's been running for a little while, but it will continue through till the end of Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
Oh, so yeah, lots of really cool prizes coming up for the race. I'm super excited for it, and can't wait to see it start.
We've had great prizes the whole time, great incentives for you guys to donate towards. One incentive I want to plug real quick. Tomorrow, Contra 3 to complete all 4 of the Contra games in a row. Make sure you guys get your donations in for that right now. You know they're like $29,000. Let's get them all during this run because Cent brought you guys like a million awesome prizes donated by tons of great people. Once again, thank you guys all for the donations. Let's get set up for one of my personal most hyped runs of the marathon, the 4-way Link to the Past run. Enjoy AGDQ 2017.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and read a couple donations that we got. First of all, we got a $100 donation from Yeti Glenn. Hey, y'all. Yeti Glenn here. Just wanted to personally donate to celebrate what a big feat we're all achieving here. Yeti shirt donations are blowing my mind, and I imagine that the final HDQ totals will break targets. Shoutouts to everyone at Yeti HQ. They are top tier. Save the animals. Wah. Oh, no. No. I got a $800 donation from Foolagin. Thank you, Foolagin. I appreciate that. He says, I promised to donate for Sigma's Dead during Ori and the Blind Forest, so here it is. We're on fantastic donation pace, so here's a challenge. Can we hit 700K before our racers reach the Master Sword in the Link to the Past race? I believe in you, donors. Let's do it. Scribble Eye, thank you for your $100 donation. Excited for the Link to the Past race, my favorite Zelda. Good luck to the runners. Casno donates $20 saying, roll deep, my sons. Go easy on everyone, Zelna. Scrivo126 donates $40 saying, Scrivo here. Just want to wish my Link to the Past buddies, Zelna, Blunt Bunny, Andy, and Joe D'Amelio, good luck on their rolling deep race. Keep the ruggedness unmatched and unparalleled. James, thank you for your $10 donation. Just barely caught the end of Kirby's Dream Land 3 on my break at work. Unfortunately, now I have to drag myself back to the grind and won't see any of Link to the Past. Here's an offering to the RNG gods. Got an anonymous $15 donation. Brazilian Brothers here. After watching for 3 years, this is my first time attending and donating. Life is the only thing you don't want to finish faster, so let's make sure Prevent Cancer Foundation gets over 1 million to keep up their great work. Oh, and don't forget to kill the frames. Connor donates $25 saying, hi all, long time watcher and first time donating. Actually my first time watching AGDQ live. and it's with my girlfriend who I introduced to the show. I hope everyone's excited for the Link to the Past run. Can I get a hype? Thank you so much. Got an anonymous $20 donation saying a VOD of Andy's Link to the Past speedrun from SGDQ 2014 was the first speedrun I'd ever seen, and I've been hooked ever since. Good luck to him and all the Link to the Past runners. Got a $40 donation from Dio Brando 219 saying, "Hey everybody, it's been a great event this week as usual. As a researcher myself, I can't begin to tell you how appreciated charities like these are. Thank you to everybody at AGDQ and put this towards the Dark Souls 3 glitch exhibition." The God of Orbiting Teapots, thank you for your $25 donation. Wanted to make sure I was a donor during one of my favorite franchises of all time. Kirby was my main during the Smash 64 days. Put my money towards fitting the animals some nice cement shoes. Kill them. We have a $500 donation from Rapovis. Just saying, heart. Aw, thank you. Smooth Ride donates $30 saying, "Hey everyone, long-time watcher, first-time donator. Lost my grandmother and aunt to cancer, so I'm just pitching in whatever I can do to help. Good luck to the runners and kill those dirty, stinking animals." Have a $50 donation from Troy saying, "First time donating, been a great time watching AGDQ over the years. The Puyos are great. Do you know any Japanese? I'll donate an extra $100 if you read this correctly on your first try. Puyo daisuki." I hope I said it right. We have a $50 donation from Anonymous that says, "It's good to see gaming being used for such a good cause. Thanks to all the runners and everyone else who's given their time for this. Let's beat cancer." B61 donates $20 saying, "Thank you so much for this initiative. I'm a huge gamer myself, and I'm glad games can be used for good. Game on. Also, put this towards saving the animals." Thank you, SMR, for your $75 donation. Hi, AGDQ. Had to donate during my all-time favorite classic game, Kirby. My older brother got me into your week of speedrunning this year, and I've been absolutely hooked. Ironically, I'm running with a group of distant runners this summer to raise money for cancer patients. So from distant runner to speedrunner, kill cancer and save the animals. All right, guys, are you ready for Zelda: A Link to the Past race? All right, guys, we're gonna count this down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, welcome everyone to this 4A No Major Glitches, A Link to the Past race, AGDQ 2017. It's 4 of our top runners here, so get comfy, should be in for a really exciting race. I guess there's a few things we should mention right off the bat. Like most speed games, we're playing on the Japanese 1.0 version for the usual reasons of we save time with text, and there's a few exclusive glitches, which we'll point out kind of as we get to them. In terms of the category you're seeing, this is No Major Glitches, No Save and Quit. This game is extremely broken, and we can actually beat it in under 2 minutes with some of the major glitches. So kind of the definition of a major glitch is anything which lets you skip a significant portion of the game. So with those banned, what remains is kind of a more traditional route through the game. You'll see every dungeon and kind of all the items you need to actually get through them all. You'll see us kind of going through the prologue here, just making our way through Hyrule Castle. I'm sure most of you are quite familiar with the story. For those of you who don't know about this game, so far we've had a telepathic message from some mysterious girl locked in a basement. We've been told to go and rescue her for reasons unknown at this point. Our uncle decides to just kind of hop out of the house. He's not interested in any teamwork. He just, he wants the prize for himself. He manages to get to a hallway. He's not even had any enemies to fight at this point. He just collapses, kind of overcome with the empty hallway. And then kind of from this point, we're just trying to find out who this girl is and why we're saving her.
All right. That was an excellent introduction. Now I guess we should introduce the players and ourselves. From left to right in front of me, possibly right to left on camera, is the world record holder representing French Canada, Zelna. Oh yeah, give it up for him. Next up is a guy I'm sure a lot of people know and doesn't need much of an introduction, is my good friend Andy. Joe D'Amelio showed up for a race earlier this week and had quite an impressive performance, if you caught that, in Castlevania 4, so give it up for him. And who I think is one of the most rapidly improving players and who has been shown a very impressive performance lately. Last, Blunt Bunny. And I'm Super Scudge or whatever.
I'm Christos Owen.
And I am X-Release.
And we'll be your commentators.
I guess you've just seen kind of the first difficult part of the speedrun, the Mace Guard or Ball and Train Trooper. At this point in the run, he can deal a whole lot of damage, so it can be quite a scary fight if you enter here with low hearts. As you can see, no trouble for any of our speedrunners here. Everything kind of smooth sailing. There's a couple of kind of movement techniques which you're seeing here. I don't know if one of you guys want to talk about those?
Yeah, one of the things you're seeing through these staircases that come into rooms, they want to face to the left or right immediately coming out of them. If you move down coming out, you might get 7 or 8 frames of lag right off the bat. It's a very small thing, but through all the rooms you go through in the game, little stuff starts to add up.
And another thing you're seeing is what I guess would look like erratic movement. That's the technique called pumping, and kind of the long and short of it is that you get a 50% speed increase every other frame. Until you get the boots, this is one of the most important things to try and obviously get through the rooms quicker, and things will kind of speed up a lot from there. So we've kind of rescued Zelda now, and now we're making our way kind of through the sewers to the sanctuary.
The sewer section has a lot of subtle RNG involved with the way the enemies behave, the rats and the snakes. So you can conceivably lose a few seconds to getting bad patterns.
Yeah, pretty much every enemy pattern is going to be randomized throughout the whole game. So a lot of it's not really going to be impactful, or it's going to be manageable, but some of it's going to be pretty influential. And as they're still close together, going through the same rooms, you can really see the differences. Like in this coming room, the snake room, they'll probably all get significantly different patterns and have to handle them all differently.
So in terms of the items we got so far, you might have noticed we skipped a chest in Link's house, and a very common question we get is, why do we do that? So it contains the lamp, which you need to push the bookcase to get into the sewer section. However, there are 3 chests in kind of the prologue section, whichever one you open first gives you the lamp, and kind of the 2 you open after that then give you 5 rupees. We grab it after rescuing Zelda, simply because it's faster to do it there. And the other item we have at this point is the boomerang. It's not technically required. As you can see, it helps here, grabbing the key, although that's proving difficult for some of our runners. But yeah, basically, it speeds up. It's used multiple times throughout the run. And it's one of, I think, 2 items which we don't technically require, the other being the tempered sword, which you'll see later.
Coming into this last room in Escape, you can hold right to skip a text dialogue that Zelda is supposed to give you. She says, pull the switch over there, not specifying which one it is. If you pull the left one, you get trolled. It's pretty funny.
All right, that looked like a pretty solid first segment for all 4 of them.
I guess the question here is, who's going to grab the Sanctuary Heart container?
Yeah, that's a big question. The Sanctuary Heart is the first optional safety item in the game. It costs roughly 3 seconds to pick up, but of course you have an extra entire heart container through the whole run.
Oh.
I guess time will tell to see whether that was a smart move or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
So right now we're just heading on over to our first Light World dungeon, Eastern Palace. There's not a lot to say here, so if there's any donations, now's kind of a good time to get some of those.
Actually, I do have a Cole192 donates $1,000.
Wow.
All right.
This donation is dedicated to everyone who is watching these on YouTube afterwards, wishing they could donate. You guys are awesome. Watching your runs motivated me to dust off my SNES from the basement, only to die more times on Keem Helmassar than imaginable. $400, $300, $200, $100 to go to first, second, third, and fourth incentive, respectively. We also have another $1,000 donation from Nerf187. Been waiting all day for the Link to the Past race. I'll donate another $50 if Andy can manage to go the entire race without kicking anyone's console. Please split the donation up between the announcer and runner's choice.
Okay, so coming up, we have an interesting room where 4 skeletons are supposed to spawn. Where 4 skeletons are supposed to spawn, and actually, if you move in a certain way, you can only get 2 to spawn, and you can even kill them before they are fully loaded, as they all have done here.
Yep.
I just want to say really quick ahead, because Bullingen challenged us to reach a certain amount before you guys got the Master Sword, and we did. We have passed $700,000.
So coming up in a couple of rooms' time, there's a chest which you need to hit a switch to spawn. It's surrounded by 4 anti-fairies, and the intended way to get this is to kill all the enemies in the room, and that will then disperse the anti-fairies off of the pot, so you can then hit the switch. There's actually a trick, quick big key, which if you take damage, you get some invulnerability frames, and that allows you to pick up the pot and then get knocked back off and spawning the chests, skipping the whole section of killing the enemies. Seeing all 4 players managing to do that.
They've all got a healthy heart count going out of that room. If you don't get the Sanctuary Heart, obviously it's still a little bit more scary, but 1.5 is the maximum that you'll probably have after that trick. So they're going to all be pretty comfortable here. So in the first leg of the game, their objective is to complete 3 dungeons and collect 1 pendant from each dungeon. This will be the first of those 3 dungeons. And then they'll be able to collect the Master Sword. Uh-oh.
I guess that sand cart's paid off so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So upcoming's the first boss of the game, which is the Armos Knights. Ordinarily, the last Armos will go into a red phase, which refills its health points, but by killing the last Armos and the second to last Armos at nearly the same time, you can skip that phase.
See a little bit of a variation between Zelna and Andy here. Both, however, successful.
Yeah. So no trouble from any of our players there. One thing the players are going to be doing throughout the entire run is keeping a note of their arrow count and their bomb count. That's a very important piece to kind of consider. You want to be walking into that boss fight with at least 18 arrows. If not, you'll be having to fight with the sword, which deals significantly less damage. So there's a few places in that dungeon that they were hoping to get arrow drops, and if not, they have to pick up kind of backup pots. But they're all looking good right now.
Yeah, now that they've done the first dungeon, they can collect the Pegasus boots, which are obviously a great item because they make you go faster, and that's always nice in a speed run. And it also lets them do the first minor glitch, the super speed glitch. This is a 1.0 exclusive glitch that involves spinning your sword and pressing the dash button. You interrupt the dash charge animation, so it gets stuck, and then when you transition between staircases and regular ground, you get dash speed, but with the mobility of regular walking. And that'll save them a lot of time.
It's also one of the coolest looking tricks, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So right now they're going to the book, which they need to be able to enter the next dungeon, being the Desert Palace.
And again, if you got any more donations at this point, it's a good time for it.
All right, we got a $10 donation from Tristan Wolf saying, "Good luck to all the Link to the Past speedrunners. Please put this donation to the choice of the first person to get the Master Sword."
All right, Zelna, what do you want it to go to?
Shots called. We have a $100 donation from Charred Resistors saying, "Love to see this event get bigger every year. Best of luck to all the runners."
So this spin dash trick is frame perfect, and you see these runners attempting it on some screens where it only saves about a half a second. So this game is very optimized, and half seconds and quarter seconds matter a lot.
I think the last time you saw a No Major Glitches run was 2014. So it's been 3 years since we've had that in. And since then, there's been a lot of new tech, kind of minor movement tech discovered. And kind of the competition between runners is improved significantly. There's a huge amount of players, and kind of the times have just been driven down. Zelna here has got the world record. I think it's the 1:23.19. Absolutely insane time.
Yeah, considering the second best player only has a 1:24, not even within 50 seconds, it's pretty impressive.
Definitely.
And we use time only loosely, because getting any time kind of under 1:25 or even around there is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So entering Desert Palace here, there's kind of not too much going on. We're going to get our second kind of item here, which allows us to progress, which is the gloves, which allows us to kind of pick up light-colored rocks.
Yeah, there's not a lot of flashy things going on in this dungeon. Not a lot that's really too difficult until you get to the boss fight. But this gives you a great opportunity to warm up your dashing right after you get the boots before going into the more difficult parts of the run.
Yeah, the boss of this dungeon is easily one of the hardest in the run.
Yeah, I'd say it's the hardest to optimize consistently.
Certainly.
It's a little bit of a random enemy movement that can be influential here. These cannonball patterns are going to be random. Can't really do anything about it if you get a bad pattern. Costs you about a second if you do. You just kind of take it.
You can tell what pattern you're going to get from sound cues as you enter the room. There's a small delay before the cannonball shoots. Then you know you'll be able to make the dash all the way to the top. Otherwise, you'll have to delay halfway up.
So 2 of the players actually don't have as many rupees as they need. All right. So Andy actually just bonked in that room, and that's actually not as bad as a normal bonk because it lets the enemy cycle change, so you can get a more efficient dash when you take the return trip through the room. So it's not quite as bad as a normal bonk. Yeah.
Strategic bonks.
When they exit the first part of this dungeon, they're going to have a risky spin dash they can try to attempt to save about a half second. It's very easy to hop the ledge, though, and lose a bunch of time.
And what you're seeing both players do as well is, as they come off the stairs, they're pausing the menu to switch to the next item they need. So that's technical pause buffering. That's used significantly throughout the run. Just gives you time to react to your positioning and where you are. Without that, there's a high chance you'll just jump off the cliff and have to go back through the whole dungeon.
Yeah, so it's about a potential minute loss, I guess, for a potential half-second save. That's how we like this game.
Andy and Zelna here have to make a decision on if they want these arrows in the room before Lamolas.
Zelna told me he likes 24, but I don't recommend going with that many. But
It's a pretty tight route. Andy's going
No, he's
24 too.
At 28 and 29, Blunt Bunny and Joe D'Amelio are both comfortable there. I think Blunt Bunny picked up a backup rupee that I didn't notice earlier in Desert. You want to have a minimum of 14. You can get them from drops or from a few other places. You don't even need 14. You're comfortable with 0. But yeah.
So what's going on in this fight is you have the first wave where all 3 worms will spawn in the exact same place. The direction which they move will be random. All you know is where they're going to start. So kind of the best case scenario is landing 2 arrows on each worm in the first wave.
Well,
we're getting a very good fight there from Zelna.
Yeah, good fight from Blood Bunny too.
Optimally, you want to hope for a 2 wave.
Yeah.
And wow, pretty synced up there with kind of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I think. So a pretty good fight there from everyone.
I believe Andy is going for one of the most hype strats in the run right here.
The cactus dash. Let's see if he does it. Well,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like the stage.
Oh, and after that is fake flippers. This is important. They haven't actually gone and got the flippers yet, but they're going to swim anyway. This is another Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitch. We found out at some point that the game doesn't check if you have flippers the first frame that you land in water or after a screen transition. So if you jump in the water on the last pixel before a screen transition and then immediately use the transition, and the game simply never checks if you have flippers and lets you swim around a little bit.
It's a dangerous trick though. If you get hit after changing screens, after you've gone into the water, the game tries to put you back in the same position from kind of when you did jump in on the other screen, and that's likely to be out of bounds. So if you then try and move, you will soft lock the game. So it's a dangerous strategy.
Yeah.
It saves about 6 seconds on overworld travel.
So Joe got hit by one of the crabs at the fake flippers glitch, and they actually do 2 hearts of damage, which is strange for a light world enemy. I believe it's the only one that's that dangerous.
Yeah.
But that's
Right.
actually can be a problem coming up on Death Mountain because there are random boulders and a really annoying enemy. They're officially called dead rocks, but the community usually calls them squirrels. So
Yeah, when you attack them and they freeze, they can block your path, and then you can do nothing except simply wait for them to unfreeze.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, and you have to go through this mountain, I think, 3 times throughout the course of the run.
Yeah, 3 times.
And you'll see another sword spin here. This one saves a significant period of time as you traverse the whole mountain.
Yeah, this might be the single most worthwhile one to do.
Okay, all 4 players getting through here.
Here they'll also be trying to enter warps and to use the mirror on certain horizontal coordinates on the screen to save half a second, because, you know, this game makes a lot of sense.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So third level dungeon here, Tower of Hera. So we now have the magic mirror. Kind of one use of it is in dungeons. It takes you back to the beginning. That's something that which most casual people don't usually make use of. Obviously, you can go between the Dark World and Light World with it, but that saves a lot of time in quite a few dungeons. So one of the kind of most hype strats here, the dash boomerang strat. If you hit the switch and dash at the same time, you can make it to the pegs, and there we go. Zelna just got it there.
Yeah.
And then you're in a permanent state of whatever that is, vulnerability, I guess, and you can just sit there. And it also means you don't need to hit the crystal switch in the next room.
Yeah, that's one of the glitches exclusive to the Japanese 1.0 version of the game, is being able to dash and use an item at the same time. You have to hit both the dash and item buttons on the exact same frame.
Yeah, and for the boomerang dashes, you also have to hit the D-pad input on the same frame to
Right.
throw in a different direction.
You'll be seeing lots of item dashes. I guess Hammer Dash is kind of one of the most well-known ones.
Yeah.
This beetle room coming up, Zelna's walking into now, is a tough room.
Yeah, all 3 of the players are going to try to do the same thing here, and Joe D'Amelio is going to do something a little bit different. Something he picked up from something he picked up from a Japanese player named Pui, who a lot of innovative strats have come from. The most important thing is that you're able to hit the switch and take out one of the beetles with a single slash to save from having to slash an additional time. And both strats do that, but they're just executed a little bit differently.
So here we have our first bond jump from Zelna. You need to have Link at least 2 pixels from the edge of a pit and place a bomb, and then the recoil will knock you over.
Nice.
However, if you actually bonk against the wall, that 2 pixel window is increased to 6 pixels.
Yeah.
So it makes it a bit easier.
All right.
And all 4 players not having any trouble there.
And coming into Moldorm, boss that a lot of players do not like.
So we're going to hope for no middle holes here.
Yeah, so this boss can actually knock you out of his own arena, so you have to climb back up and fight him again. His HP will reset. His movement is almost completely random, and he speeds up when he has only 1 hit point left.
Andy getting denied there.
Yep, Zelna taking him out.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Nice.
So there's a few things you can do against Moldorm. If you're near one of the edges and you hold your sword out and press the direction away from the edge, that will prevent you from falling in the hole. And also dashing through him is a pretty common strategy, although you can just take damage randomly from that, depending on your alignment.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
a
quite
little
dangerous.
unreliable.
So now we're going to head to the Master Sword with a kind of short pickup to grab some rupees. This is one of the things which has changed in the last few years. I think it was ACMLM noticed a way to always get 4 blue rupees from that tree there that you saw Zelna just pull, and one in the Lost Woods on the way back out. They'll be pulling another tree and getting 4 red rupees. You have to kill 4 enemies and take no damage for that to actually happen. So there's kind of a set path that they take through here, and it's very important that they don't take any damage here.
Right.
Yeah, but before ACM looked into the code and found the internal counter that actually determines the value you get from those rupees, we just assumed it was RNG. It was completely random what rupee denomination the trees would give you. So him finding that was really helpful and developed this route.
And that saves some time over picking up the 250 rupee chests in Sestra hut at the beginning where we got the boots.
Yeah, that could be worth about 6 to 8 seconds, depending on how your drops are. So they're all picking up the Master Sword at the same time. So it's still a pretty close race at this point.
So it was Zelna getting into the Master Sword first, so his choice from that donation.
Good predictions, Coach.
Yeah.
It's a pretty safe one, I think. So I
now-
mentioned, oh, go ahead.
So now they'll be doing Aghanim's Tower, which is definitely one of the harder dungeons in the game to me.
And there we go, we see the 4 red rupees from that tree
Yeah.
there.
Some enemies can spawn under bushes as well as landmines, and so you can actually take damage here. And you can't really, well, you can do something about it, but it's not totally within your control.
So you just saw Joe there missing the bird, which was his 4th enemy. There's a backup one.
He's also able to skip one, or I'm sorry, Andy was able to skip 1 red rupee. Saves a little time. He's going to have to pick up a little bit extra later, but I guess he decided that's going to be faster.
I'm not sure we've actually talked about the relevancy of these rupees. We need 110 before going to Palace of Darkness, which is the first Dark World dungeon. There's a little monkey who kind of likes to steal all your rupees. He's actually lost in a maze, and instead of paying you to help him out, he make like charges for your services, but whatever.
So these first rooms in Aga Tower are very interesting. It's a cool strat in the Gold Knight's room. And they specifically want to dash kill these 2 guards in the room right after to manipulate a fairy drop later in the game. The way drops work in this game, every enemy is grouped into what we call prize packs, where drops proceed in a certain order. And those 2 are part of a pack that can give you a fairy. And so you don't want it to drop here because it's completely worthless. So,
And the relevancy of a dash is dash kills do not.
yeah, dash kills do not ever give drops from enemies.
And then we have Aghanim as the dungeon's boss fight. One of the most frustrating kind of parts of the run. He has a set attack pattern, and you can either save or lose a lot of time here, depending on if he gives you attacks which you can't reflect back at him. I'll just give you a quick overview of the fight. So each cycle has 4 attacks. The first one is always guaranteed to be a yellow ball, which you reflect back at him. The next 2 are completely random between a yellow ball and a blue ball. And then the 4th one is always a lightning. And you need to damage him with 6 yellow balls to end the fight. Some of these pot rooms and kind of the 5th floor of Aghanim's Tower has some very cool strategies. And you're seeing a good application of the boomerang there to get the key really quickly from the center of that pot room. So we're going to hope for 0 blue balls. Statistically, the most common is 3, but it can go up to as many as 15.
Right, 0 has about a 1 in 16 chance of happening. And 3 has about a 1 in 3 chance.
Luckily, 15 is quite rare.
Yeah, it's only happened once in a recorded medium
Yeah.
to a guy named Scrivo. Legendary for getting 15 blue balls. Yeah, go ahead and take a bow, Scrivo.
Yeah, Scrivo's the top runner of this game, too. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate he couldn't be up here for this race.
I guess we could do some donations during the Aghanim fight because there's nothing else to talk about, really.
No problem. I got a $10 donation from John Carls saying, so stoked for this Link to the Past race. If you're not prepared to see runners rolling deep and keeping it legit fresh, you may want to turn away. Donation goes to Blunt Bunny's choice because he is the most handsome guy this side of the Mississippi. I also got Bulajin again donates $1,000. Saying
So I only got 0? All right.
he says, you guys raised $18K in 20 minutes. You're all awesome. Keep up the support.
I think we just had a 0 blue ball fight there from Zelna,
Oh,
Yeah.
Was it 1? It was 1 or 0.
because he needed another excuse to gain some time on the others.
Yeah, every blue ball in this fight loses 6 seconds. Ones that lead you to another lightning cycle will also lose you an additional 6 seconds. So
Wow. Oh, man.
everyone's having kind of a rough fight so far, except for Zelna.
So blue ball festivals. Yeah, this is a common place to reset RTA attempts. Hey.
All right.
So just cruising along, Zelna heading over to Palace of Darkness, our first Dark World dungeon. One thing which is very different to a casual playthrough is we actually do the Dark World dungeons in a very different order to kind of the suggested one. We head to Dungeon 1 and beat that, and it gives us the hammer. And then we actually head to Dungeon 4, Thieves Town. That lets us get the Titan's Mitts, which opens up a sword upgrade to the Tempered Sword straight away. That saves a lot of time in kind of multiple dungeons, particularly the boss fights. So it's worth getting kind of as soon as possible. And the overall movement between the dungeons has been optimized for that.
Yeah, one of the things I always liked about this game is that even though the game intends you to do the crystals in a certain order, you can completely ignore that and do your own thing. So the game opens up a lot in the Dark World. It becomes very non-linear.
And the difficulty also steps up as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Steps up pretty significantly. It's rare to find an enemy that's not doing 2 hearts of damage in the Dark World. Some of the enemies that they've already passed do as much as 3 hearts of damage if they hit them, which is half their health for 3 out of 4 of them.
A trick you're going to see coming up pretty soon is Hammer Jump. It's a tough trick. It requires 2 pixel perfect alignments, and it's in a room with a collapsing bridge, so there's also a time limit aspect to it. You need to place a bomb on a correct pixel and then realign Link to a different pixel. And then the knockback will clip you through a rail and allows you to skip some time, kind of doing a loop around the dark maze to get the hammer.
These
So
players
Go ahead.
These players will also be attempting a pretty insane strategy where after planting the first bomb, they will pull a second bomb to blow up a wall while they're waiting on the first bomb to explode. And so it doesn't give them much time to reach their second pixel perfect alignment.
And to help out with this trick, they're going to have to pause twice anyway. So they're going to use 2 pause buffers here to have a look at the visual cues and to see whether they need to make any corrections.
All right, Zelna's entering that room now. Picking up both bombs at the beginning makes it even harder because you have less time to set the first bomb. And no trouble for him.
Very clean.
Yeah, the mirror is used a lot in this dungeon too for just being able to move very quickly back to the beginning.
There's a couple of tough rooms coming up in the basement. There's one dark room which has got, I think, 6, maybe 7 turtles in there. And depending on where you hammer the floor, they can jump in kind of very odd patterns. So hopefully we'll be able to get a quick pattern through there.
Ooh, sexy statue from Zelna.
Yeah.
You'll also be seeing the first mimics room here. As their name suggests, they mimic your movement, so
A very nice hammer jump there from Andy.
Oh, no.
oh,
It's a tough trick, but on the second try, you only need to place 1 bomb because we've already blown up the wall. Should hopefully make it slightly easier. Nice.
All right. And Well, that is, not a great thing to happen. He's only down 3 hearts, and there's 3 that you can pick up to get back up to full health before he continues in the dungeon. So he'll be okay in that regard.
And Zelda Enna, the boss of this dungeon, Helmasaur King. He takes 17 hits from the hammer to break his mask open. You can also use bombs, which do 4 damage, and the hammer does 1 damage. And after that, the quickest way to kill him is to hammer him again. It's a bit awkward, because kind of the hitbox of his face is just a bit obscure.
Wow.
Well, yeah. Nothing's hard for the God Gamer himself, but...
Yeah, that was a perfect Helmasaur fight.
Things can get a bit tricky if he decides to throw some orange balls and then swing his tail as well.
Yeah.
It can be really hard to dodge both attacks at the same time.
Yeah, the hitbox for hammering him after his mask is off is very small, so it's pretty difficult to do what Zelda just did there and hit
Oh,
3
the key
consecutive
dash.
ones.
Have we talked about key dashes yet?
Oh no, we have not.
Okay, if you dash into a door from a multiple of 4 pixels away, because Link moves 4 pixels per frame when he's dashing, you can actually dash through a locked door without crashing off of it. Normally you can use objects to line yourself up, but sometimes you can do it just with a visual lineup, which Andy just did a moment ago. Or maybe he forgot to stop his dash.
Nice fight from Andy
fast.
there.
And Blunt
Very
with a
nice
good
from Blunt
fight.
as well.
These guys are making it look easy.
We have a $50 donation from Claire LeFrance. Go Zelna, go from Canada's family. I am proud of you. You are a very, very good speedrunner, and you help to collect funds for the cancer. I love you. Your mom, who is a survivor.
And a nice fight from Joe there.
Yeah, good fights from all of them.
So I guess the next leg of the speedrun, which Zelda is doing at the moment, we're heading over to Thieves Town, the 4th dungeon, and we're making a quick detour to, well, firstly grab the shovel, which gives us the flute. And then in the Light World town, there's a statue which, for whatever reason, bursts open, and then you get a bird which can travel around the world and makes traveling a lot faster, and it's also required to get to the 6th Dark World dungeon.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that doing the dungeons in this order is so intuitive. You collect items that speed up the run along the way, and really there's no other dungeon to go to right now that would make any sense.
Yeah.
So,
Swamp requires the flippers, which requires 500 rupees to buy, and there's just been nowhere in the run so far that's been convenient to get 500 rupees.
Right, yeah.
So,
and you need the item from Swamp to get to dungeon 3 before dungeon 4. So makes sense to do the 4th dungeon next.
We just saw Zelda do another spin speed kit and passing Usain Bolt, the most famous guard in AOTTP.
he's a
After
track
you defeated
athlete.
Aghanim on the screen with the library, there's this red spear guard, and he's just kind of on steroids.
Unlike Usain Bolt.
We have a $100 donation from Kodiak Rabbit that says, "Woo! SNES Zelda is the greatest game of all time. It's a scientific fact. Thanks for all doing what you do. Go Blunt Bunny."
You've also seen some more of the item dashes mentioned earlier. Joe just did the hammer dash down the pegs, one of the coolest looking item dashes.
See another one here from Zelda.
See if Andy can get past Usain Bolt.
Easy.
Yeah, good job.
So now that we're in Dark World Kakariko Village, there's 2 300 rupee chests we can pick up, which will allow us to buy the flippers later, which we do straight after Thieves Town.
Blunt's going for a pretty rough spin dash here. This one only saves like 10 or 15 frames.
We have a $150 donation from Dubal124. saying, "Hey Andy, it's your boy, Doable124. This money is from myself and my stream who donated a good amount of it. Just wanted to let everyone know that a lot of the Rocket League community loves to watch this amazing event. This donation goes to Angie's Choice. Also, can the guy with the British accent say Covano has awesome, luscious hair?
What was that phrase I had to say?
Covano has awesome, luscious hair."
Covano has awesome, luscious hair.
All right.
I'm going to want to see a picture of this luscious hair after this. So Zelda making its way through Thieves Town. It's a fairly straightforward dungeon. The conveyor room that we just saw him go through, it can be a bit rough. The blob enemies, the patterns they take can just block your path through. As you enter the room, if you don't make any movements before you start your dash, you will automatically stop on a multiple of 4 pixels. And if you stop on the correct pixel, you'll be perfectly aligned to dash up the entire, what we describe as Hellway. It's referred to it as the God Pixel, so hopefully the other 3 runners will get that.
Yeah, it's frame perfect and requires good RNG to still work, so it's
an easy every time trick.
Right. This is kind of a unique dungeon too, in that the boss actually doesn't stay in its own room. You have to find him and then, well, find her, I guess, bring her to the room, and then she'll turn into the boss. So that's what they have to do first in here, and that's where they're headed first.
They'll also be getting the Titan's mitts here, which are not only needed to beat the game, but also needed to get a sword upgrade, which will make a lot of the combat from here on way easier.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to get the upgraded sword, but the amount of time that it saves is much greater, as far as we know.
So this is a very unique boss in that what you attack it with doesn't actually matter too much. The boss has got 3 cycles, and each head has 3 HP. Kind of all level sword work. There's a few other interesting items which work. The Cane of Samaria, the Cane of Bryna. There's no reason to have them ordinarily at this point, but they can make for some interesting fights.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a fun thing to do, to fight bosses with unconventional weapons.
So the fight can actually be done the same way every time if you attack it in the same way every time. So hopefully we'll see them all get kind of the fastest kill possible and take no damage.
Yeah, this boss feels very random and very hectic, and is probably one of the hardest ones for a casual playthrough, but once you learn the script, it's probably one of the easiest ones in the speedrun.
So a perfect one there from Zana.
Yeah.
Of course.
We have a $10 donation from Kaizen Ma that says, "Hey y'all, Kaizen here. Just wanted to let Andy know that his pug farm misses him. Come home, Kappa. Good luck to all the runners. Put this donation towards Andy's Choice."
All right, we're going to see a slightly different fight from Andy, or so I've been told. He's going to do a cute little thing here. I won't spoil it, though.
All right.
There we go.
If you press select as soon as that fight starts, you can mess with the color palette some.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
All right, you got it. And one as well.
An interesting side effect of that is that the door actually stays open in that fight, so ordinarily you'll be locked in with them, even after you defeated them. But you can just leave. If you look at them and think, nah, I don't fancy doing that, just get out of there.
You know a lot about leaving, don't you?
Yeah, I think a certain British speedrunner once did that in a marathon during the fight.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
A little off script for Joe, but yeah, he cleaned it up just fine. Zelna's nearly done with his errands that he needs to take care of in this leg of the game. He's collected 300 rupees, and he's in the process of getting his upgraded sword. After that, he'll need to get 300 more rupees, and then that'll be the end of the rupee route for this run.
So this is the level 3 out of 4 sword. There is a 4th one, the gold sword. It's kind of slow to get, so you won't actually be seeing it here. So this is kind of the final sword upgrade you'll see.
Have a $25 donation from Finvier Plays saying, "Greetings from Canada. Been watching for AGDQ for years, but this is my first time donating. Glad I can help in this wonderful cause. Put this money towards killing the animals. I will also give every $5 for every blue ball that Zelna gets. Good luck to the runners, and may the Triforce be with you." So far he's got 0, right? I'm pretty sure that was the count so far. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
So Zelna's entering Skullwoods, and this is an interesting dungeon to me because it's kind of merged with the overworld, and there are a lot of entrances, and can be very confusing casually, but if you know where to go, it's quite simple.
This room he's in right now, the kind of mummy statue room, can be quite annoying. So you've got a ceiling master to deal with, and the mummy patterns can just kind of knock you out the way. So it's quite frustrating. He gets through there without too much trouble.
He got
though.
a bad pattern, but handled it well. The other 3 players are tempering their sword now, and they'll be up to Skullwoods shortly. This is also the dungeon with the 3rd bomb jump of 4. This one is the same technique as the Tower of Hera bomb jump, which means it's fairly easy and the cost for failure is almost negligible.
Zelna getting it first try there. And then falling in the pit to leave that room's interesting because it lets you just walk through the hitbox of the enemy upon exiting. It saves a bit of time right there.
Yeah. Sometimes you're low on hearts and you'll actually not fall in the hole to save a heart and forget that you can't walk through that ropa and take 2 more hearts of damage.
So we've got some interesting rooms coming up in Skullwoods Part 2. There's a room where you have to light 4 torches and there's a lot of mummies to deal with. You'll be seeing some fire rod dashes.
It's one of the most technical rooms in the run.
And then 2 rooms after that, there's a mummy which has a key. And there's also spikes in the room, and enemies actually take damage from spikes in this game. So if you hit the mummy into the spikes twice, that's the fastest way to kill him. The fire rod kills it instantly, but there's a big delay while you have to wait for him, like the death animation to run. As you doing it right there. We have our expert Mothula hero right here.
Mothula is an interesting boss. The Tempered Sword usually takes 4 hits to kill him, which is very fast.
Ooh, yeah.
But
yeah.
That was, yeah.
Zelna was able to kill the boss in 3 hits there, which if you dash into the boss at a specific time to start the fight with a specific position, you can get a double hit. So that's the optimal way to do the fight. It's very good.
And there's a good example of why we get the Tempered Sword so early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fight gets pretty rough with the Master Sword
Yeah,
and
the
Fire
Master
Rod.
Sword would take 8 hits. So
Yeah. Andy's coming into the second part of Skullwoods, kind of low on hearts.
Opting not to death warp
Hopefully-
right there. He's just, guess we'll see what happens.
There's a potential for a heart drop and 1 safety one he can pick up if he. Okay. Never mind. That's not a very costly death anyway. I think Andy actually lost to somebody that died in Skullwoods, so he should know it's not a very costly death at AGDQ 14. Oh.
Very nice fight there from Blunt. So with Mothula, the longer the fight goes on, the worse it gets. If you knock him or her into the spikes, it kind of doesn't actually take damage. The spikes move about the room, and the developers obviously didn't want the spikes to damage Mothula. So if you knock them back, it just won't take damage, and it can be really frustrating. So when he hugs the top like that, like for Andy, those attacks don't actually deal any damage.
Good.
Managed to
Still not
recover
too
well
bad.
there anyway.
So on the
Nice.
All right.
nice.
So pretty close between the second, third, and fourth now.
Looks like Zelna lost the lottery,
Yeah,
as we
lost
call
the
it.
lottery.
He actually went for a backup heart that he didn't get, but that's okay.
Yeah, on this overworld, they go and get Quake in the Dark World, which is needed to open Turtle Rock later. And then they also come here and get the Flippers. It's a very convenient route to come get them at the same time. They're in the same area of the map.
Unfortunately, they have to run all the way back through because the flute doesn't work in the screen because it's kind of a separate thing to the rest of the overworld.
Yeah.
And then what you'll see them do after that is take the whirlpool, so faster way.
An alternate route would be to fly out and do Swamp before Ice Palace. It's a few seconds slower, but you have an extra heart for Ice Palace. Oh, that's really the only upside I can think of. That's common among Japanese players, actually. And I think that's just a remnant of the old route with save and quit, where saving and quitting out of the Zora Flipper area would be faster.
So Ice is a pretty tricky dungeon. There's a lot of things there which can deal a lot of damage. The item in there is the blue mail, and obviously they kind of scale up how much damage the enemies do, because you're intended to get that, but of course we're going to be skipping it.
Yeah, the boss especially does 4 hearts per hit, so getting hit even a couple times by that, you're toast.
And there are a couple instances where the runners will intentionally take damage in the dungeon, so it's a very risky dungeon.
You will have to deal with the ice mechanics of the game, which are pretty interesting. You can maintain momentum by slashing your sword while on ice. In some of the rooms, it will look really cool.
Yeah, coming up a few rooms from now for Zelna will be the Ice Palace bomb jump, which is a pretty significant trick. Saves a few minutes by allowing you to skip the big puzzle, block pushing puzzle at the end of the dungeon.
It's quite a tricky one. It's, I guess, akin to the hammer jump in that you need to place the bomb and then line link up in a separate pixel. It's actually a diagonal one. We may see Andy hover it, or maybe in some other of our runners.
He's given us confirmation that he
Yeah.
is going to hover.
Yeah.
Since Zelda's not on full hearts, he can use the sword beam to his advantage to kill some enemies here, so he's going to slow him down just a little bit. And here's the bomb jump.
Very
Okay.
smooth.
Yeah.
We have a $5 donation from Alex Rosenberg that says, "Hey GDQ fam, this is the media director of Zelda Universe here. Been watching the GDQs for about a year now, and I'm very happy to see so many incredibly speedrunners to do their thing for such a good cause. I'm putting my donation towards the Iwata save file for Wind Waker HD, and of course, save the frames, kill the animals. Good luck to all the Zelda runners. GDQ hype!"
See, right there you saw Zelna just, as you came into that room, he could just push the block down and be in the basement, and that allows him to progress straight to the boss. That's what the bomb jump lets you skip, having to do another whole loop of the dungeon.
So here they have to be careful not to miss a single fire rod shot on this boss, or it's over. Zelda got through.
Yeah.
Nice.
So an absolute textbook fight there.
Yeah.
He actually- Go ahead.
We'll see some variance with the runners. With the runner's strategies on that boss. Zelna just did the hardest, but also the fastest version of it, where you can poke Cold Stare with, which allows you to keep holding a charge while you're doing damage to him.
comes the hover.
Yeah.
All right.
You got it. Hovering is pretty difficult to do.
Yep.
Yep. I think you only need several hovers for that gap, but
Successful bump jumps from the other two.
yeah.
We have a $250 donation from Meg Turney that says, "Go Andy, go! Don't screw up the Ice Palace again." This donation goes to Andy's choice.
I guess we'll see in a couple of seconds.
All right.
Nice fight from Blunt there.
We have a $50 donation from Pitch Zero that says, "Love all these guys. Exciting race so far. Donation goes to Blunt Bunny's choice because he's a guy who rolls deeper than any man has ever rolled."
Textbook fight from Andy there as well.
Oh. Yeah, cold stare is a rough death.
Yeah, so he's going to either need to find magic now or reroute the run. See what he chooses to do. He's going to reroute. All right, so this will be interesting. Instead of going straight back to the dungeon, he's actually going to do a different dungeon now without having to farm magic, and then he'll go back there later with full hearts and magic.
Meanwhile, Zelda's making his way through Swamp Palace. It's not a particularly interesting or tricky dungeon. It's kind of one of those ones where a lot of things, like really minor things, can go wrong, and you can lose a lot of time without really realizing it. It's just kind of a lot of optimal movement, particularly with swimming.
Yeah, this is actually the second dungeon in the intended Dark World dungeon order, and they just got done with the fifth, so this is a nice break after that. They're nice and overpowered, plenty of hearts, tempered sword, nothing to worry about, as far as dying anyway.
We have a $512 donation from Alex M. "I have many, many fond childhood memories of the Zelda games, and especially of Link to the Past. Getting to see a four-way race of the game is a real treat and worth staying up even though it's getting very late here. Really appreciate all the runners and staff. Great work for a great cause, as always." Pity claps, apparently. We have a $25 donation from Brasentia. Brasentia here. Whoa, no major glitches. That seems like a high rule, don't you think?
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Have fun, and may Lunk be on your side. Put this towards naming the fallen hero on Undertale, Bethis.
One thing the players need to be aware of here is their bomb and arrow count. There's a room we refer to as stock room coming up in the second part, where there's a kind of really convenient bomb and 5 arrow to pick up, which some of them might be doing.
Yeah, this is a great dungeon to make sure your bomb and arrow counts are good. There's actually 2 backups of each. One room that has both, and the other 2 are elsewhere in the dungeon.
And the big twist item from this dungeon is the hookshot, kind of one of the traditional Zelda items, and one of the most fun to use as well. So before the sword spin speed was discovered, we knew how to do it with the hookshot only, but since then it's kind of been obsoleted.
We have a $1,000 donation from Me Diddy Tampa. Much love, AGDQ, and all my GDQ peeps. This is my yearly tribute to a great friend that passed from colon cancer. So thank you to all of you for helping research to cure cancer. Go Zelda race, kill the animals, Much love, bless.
All right, so the dungeon has been pretty straightforward, and if you played this casually, you might think the boss is pretty straightforward too. But in actuality, this is definitely one of the hardest bosses in the speedrun to do quickly. They're going to be attempting a strategy where they can avoid a cycle where Argus shoots out his puffs in a wide circle. It saves about 6 seconds. It involves pretty precise inputs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very tricky.
I'd say it's probably the hardest single strat to learn in the whole game. But if executed well, it should always be consistent, nearly always consistent. There is also some random factors to the boss's movement, so just to make it a little more fun.
I think Zelna got it.
Yeah, perfect.
There's a quick
Yeah.
kill in the second phase too. He'll try with the fire rod. And that looks good. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Look,
Yeah, that fire rod part only saves a second and can go wrong really easily.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough.
Oh, and he checking the map to make sure he's going the right way.
yeah, that fire rod strategy on the second phase of Argus is quite interesting. You can actually chain him infinitely, well, until you run out of magic.
Yeah, for some reason the fire rod doesn't cause him to have invulnerability frames right away, so you're able to hit him multiple times afterwards.
We have an anonymous $100 donation saying, "Go Andy, such a great cause," from your pug, Pippa.
All right, Joe and Blunt Bunny are going to be coming in here. I think they both do try this same strategy here. Oh, no, I was mistaken. Blunt Bunny is, oh.
Okay, nice.
We got Andy coming in the fight here.
No, that's not it.
He got the invisible cycle where they're all dead, but he still cycles anyway.
Nice.
All right.
So Zelna's making his way to get the Ice Rod. It's an item which is required, but is fairly well hidden unless you decide to kind of go and explore the overworld or talk to some of the NPCs. I think there's a guy in town near the beginning who, if you speak to him, hints that it's there. It's quite interesting that they kind of just hide it in a random place in the overworld rather than giving it to you in a dungeon. But they'll be needing that for the Trinex boss fight.
Yeah, getting that and getting Ether, which I believe he's already gotten, are the last two items they'll need to collect.
Yeah.
From here on, it's going to be all dungeons. So this is where the game really picks up.
Yeah, going from the second dungeon to the sixth dungeon, there's going to be a pretty clear difficulty increase. Multiple enemies that can do 4 hearts of damage are going to be in here.
The second room of this dungeon particularly is really a very impressive one if done correctly. There's a huge amount of enemies you need to kill, and you can dispatch them really quickly using sword beams and the fire rod.
Joe D'Amelio pretending he's going to do an out-of-bounds clip. I didn't even realize that was unusual.
Zelna
Zelna
got
getting
that
it right
room.
there.
Yeah, this dungeon introduces the Wizrobe enemy, which will disappear if you take too long to kill them.
Yeah, it's kind of a cycle-based enemy, so if you don't kill him within a certain time frame, the time loss increases by a large amount. Oh yeah, Joe D'Amelia's gone back to Ice Palace now. He had to redo this dungeon, unfortunately. A little bit better equipped this time.
We have a $20 donation from a Stanner93 saying, "Yo, a Stanner93 here. Just wanted to ask if Blood Bunny will sell me his sunglass after his run." Shout outs to the Rollin' Deep crew.
Here you're seeing Zelda use an item while a block is being pushed. You can shoot the item through the block. I believe that's a glitch that works in all versions of the game.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. In fact, I think a similar glitch works in a lot of different Zelda games, despite being programmed by different people. You'll have to ask Tompa about that if you want the details. Blunt Bunny's approaching the Wizard room now. See if he can one-cycle it. Nearly.
Very close. Zelda about to get the Cane of Samaria, a unique item in the Zelda series, and a very fun one as well. It allows you to create blocks, and they can be used to damage enemies, and then you can also explode them to shoot out projectiles in a cross. And they can also activate switches as well. So a pretty dynamic weapon. And in a couple of rooms' time, you'll be seeing an interesting strategy.
Looks like a successful fight for Joe the second time. It looked almost identical to the first fight. If you watch them side by side, you probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference. The spin timing would have probably been frames different, which caused one of the puffs to take damage from a poke instead of one of the spins, which is why it didn't die at the end.
So the health route in Meyer is very tight. You have to take damage to get one of the keys, like Zelna has here. He's 3 hearts down from taking that damage. And then you have to take damage on the boss to be able to kill it quickly. So this is a pretty dangerous dungeon too.
I think casually, Vitreous is probably one of the hardest bosses. I guess what most people wouldn't realize is that the goo that he's sitting in deals 1 harder damage. And you can use the invulnerability frames of that to charge your sword and release spin attacks, damaging multiple eyes at the same time. Whereas normally you kind of just run around in a panic and shoot arrows and slash your sword and hope for the best.
The little eyes do 4 hearts damage though, so you have to be very careful on your approach.
Perfect fight there from Zona. So if you dispose of all the little eyes quick enough, the big eye won't actually shoot out any lightning, what we refer to as a 0 cycle, which is what he got right there.
And it saves a few seconds to not have the lightning.
We have a $30 donation from the Great Wall of China saying, "Hey all, donating again during Link to the Past. This is the game I grew up with and have beaten literally thousands of times and would actually be a game I could feasibly speedrun myself if I didn't have a full-time job. This goes towards saving the runners from having to waste time with the animals. I'll donate another 10, this is read during the LTTP race, and 100 if Andy hovers over the gap in Ganon's Tower after Moldorm 2.
Do you accept the challenge, Andy? I guess we'll find out.
Totally wasn't going to do that anyway.
So Zelda making his way up Death Mountain for the last time, on his way to Turtle Rock, the 7th dungeon. It can be a pretty rough one, and there's some interesting and unique aspects to it, which we'll see shortly. And it really makes use of the Cane of Samaria.
Blunt Bunny's just about to enter the Vitreous fight now.
Yep.
All right.
Also get in the 0 cycle there.
And next up is Andy.
Yeah, that's what Josh was saying earlier about how tight the health route is there. He was just on the 1 heart right at the end. Can be a pretty tough and scary fight. So Zelna making his way throh Turtle Rock. He's approaching a torch puzzle where the intended way to do it is to kind of do a full loop around. You can actually skip that by using the hook shot to drag you into, to drag you to the torch, and then it puts you down into the pit. And that will warp you back to the entrance without you having to wait for the platform to go all the way around. Getting it first try there. And then this subsequent room, he'll be using the hook shot to take invulnerability frames and then let the rollers pass through him. And then on the way back out, he'll be intentionally taking damage and using those damage frames to then get back out.
Yeah, that's a pretty big damage boost, 3 hearts to get through there. But because he was able to manipulate the prize pack earlier, he should be getting a fairy drop pretty early in this dungeon.
Hopefully from this next Hokuboku?
Hokuboku, yeah.
We usually call them pokies. And you
yeah,
got
it
it.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll
It's
give him
really
a lot of
convenient to
comfort.
get it there because, well,
Ooh,
you are
Andy with the
can use sword
drive-through.
beams.
Nice.
Getting through the Waffle House.
Slow Motion Flowers donates $500. Link to the Past was my favorite game growing up. I've played through it hundreds of times. Thanks to everyone for making this happen.
So that room that Xana just did there, you need to kill the Pokey quick enough before the little star which turns you into Bunny gets to you. That allows you to get the key and then just make your way through the door without having to either take damage to revert back to Link or waiting for it to end before killing the Pokey.
There are 4 different patterns that Pokey has too, and each of these players has practiced all 4 of those patterns a lot.
Yeah, they all have well, 2 of them have similar approaches, and the other 2 have pretty different approaches. And there's one very cool strat, which we might see if we get the right RNG pattern.
A really nice pattern regardless. So Blunt Bunny making his way through the roller room there without too much trouble. Let's see if Andy can do the same.
Program Max donates $1,000. Saying $1 for every time Andy bonked. Just kidding, Andy. We love you.
So Zelna's coming up on what we call laser skip, where there are these laser eyes protecting these chests. The game intends you to have mirror shield to be able to walk through these, but you can just dash through with the right alignment like he did there.
So Joe approaching Vitreous here.
I'll probably get 1 lightning.
Nice.
Yep, good fight.
We got a pretty close race here between Andy and Blunt Bunny. Andy had the fairy drop, so he's got a bit better health here. Blunt Bunny be hoping to get that in a subsequent room coming up.
Zelna's fighting Trinex now. This is the boss that requires both the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod. It's the only required use of the Ice Rod in the entire game. First phase is down. Second phase should go down nice and easy.
Nice. So that's another boss which, the longer the fight goes on, the more difficult it gets. If the ice head shoots out ice, it freezes the floor, and then not only have you got to kind of navigate with Trinex, you've also got ice floor and ice mechanics to deal with. Makes it pretty rough. Andy having a bit of a party here.
So the final dungeon of the game is Ganon's Tower, which is, you know, they really saved the best for last here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is an insanely technical dungeon. The first part is, you know, emphasizes using a lot of items and is very movement based. And then the second half is very combat based.
Right. It's a very, very difficult dungeon. Although we won't probably see much difficulty from Zelna.
Yeah, it'll probably make it look all easy.
Okay, Blunt Bunny approaching Trinex here.
See if he has a clean fight.
The runners like to fight Trinex from behind because you can take advantage of the shortened knockback because the wall restricts it. Yeah, he's in a comfortable position.
It's also important that they switch to the fire rod before killing the fire head, because you cannot pause the game while there are explosions happening.
Nice.
Yeah.
Zelna just strolling through.
So some very fun rooms. Again in Tower here.
Yeah, you should see them make use of a lot of cute mechanics in the game to take advantage in this dungeon.
Yeah, Joe opted to mirror out of the roller room there. He took unintentional damage on the way up to get the key there. So a bit safer to do that.
Yeah, you should still be getting the fairy early in this dungeon, but being down to 3 hearts when most enemies do 3 or 4, it's not a position you want to be in.
So Zelna just bonking over there. There's invisible floor there. The intended way is to kind of use ether or light one of the torches to be able to see the floor and kind of navigate your way through. You can just simply bonk off the pot and land there, and it takes you straight to where you need to go.
In Ganon's Tower, you're going to refight each of the 3 Light World dungeon bosses. The first one is Armos, and it's going to be modified a little bit. You're going to be fighting him on ice. Joe still hasn't gotten his fairy drop, but it should be forthcoming.
So you might be wondering why he's picking up arrows there. We've got another Mimic room coming up, and he only had 2 arrows. So you want to have kind of at least 8, really, heading up there. They can drop them, but you don't want to leave it up to luck.
Yeah, these mimics coming up are definitely some of the harder rooms in the game to have go perfectly.
That's the perfect first room.
Perfect first room, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Very
Really
good
good.
second room, yeah.
It's extremely precise inputs to get it done like that. Slashing your sword prevents Link from moving, but holding the direction will make the mimics move, so you can manipulate their positions pretty easily while keeping Link almost stationary.
It's difficult in those rooms while you're holding your sword manipulating the mimics to not accidentally charge your sword into a spin attack. You have to avoid getting that timer.
There's the fairy finally for Joe. That'll make him a little more comfortable completing the dungeon.
So Zelna's now making his way through what we refer to as gauntlets. a series of rooms which there can be some pretty rough patterns if the enemies go up into the corners, but you simply need to just destroy all the enemies and make your way through. It's a fun set of rooms to go through.
Sometimes it's fun.
We have a $50 donation from Cetra Blues saying this race is crazy awesome. Let's keep it going, guys. Also, shout outs to Scudge on the couch. You the man. Hope to see you running Link to the Past at GDQ again in the future.
Yeah, we'll see.
So in the So in that Lamola's refight, you could see that with the fire rod, it becomes quite a bit more trivial than it was with the bow earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
The fire rod does twice as much damage as the bow, so you can make quick work of them. One cycles are pretty common.
And here you're seeing good applications of the Cane of Samaria. So the cross pattern, when you make it explode, can be used to easily dispatch the Wiz ropes. Looks pretty cool. So Andy now entering the second part of Ganon's Tower, going to start going through the gauntlets. Joe taking down the first phase of Trinex without any problems.
Yeah.
Have a $10 donation from G Virus that says, greetings from the donation station. I had to donate while my fellow Kerbergus shows everyone how it's done. And they want me to read this in French. Bonne chance les gros, c'est les best. Also, if, when really, you win the race, I'll treat you to the best poutine you've ever had.
Yeah.
The boss of Ganon's Tower is going to be a refight of the Aghanim fight. It's not nearly as annoying as the first one because you actually have some influence on the outcome. It's a little different. There's going to be 3 different entities firing at you, and you can reflect all 3 of their attacks back at the main one. It takes 6 hits to kill him, so the best you can possibly do is a 2-cycle. Requires good RNG and good execution.
Wow. So we've seen a 0 blue ball Aghanim 1 and a 2-cycle Aghanim 2 from Zelna here. It's extremely rare. Hopefully we don't get a lot of warps on Ganon.
Yeah, this last fight, once again, the game saves the best for last. This Ganon fight is really hard. He's probably the deepest fight in the game. You might be wondering how they're going to be able to kill Ganon without having the silver arrows, which are intended to be able to, or you're intended to have the silver arrows to be able to defeat the boss, but we're going to be using a little trick in the last phase to avoid needing them.
Okay, he's at the 1-on-1 cycle there, which is what you hope for.
The third phase is where it's all RNG. If he decides to warp and land, so you can hit him or not, 50-50 chance every time.
At least it wasn't 37.
Yeah, I think the highest we've ever seen is 37.
So after this phase, the torches are going to go out, but the left torch goes out a few frames before the right one does. And if you light the left torch before the right one goes out, the right one will stay lit. And that's very important for optimizing this final phase.
We got to check out this hopper real quick. Okay, first try, of course.
All right.
So Zelna managed to do the torch click successfully there. Prevents the right torch from going out.
Andy, what's going on?
So you see here, by doing spin attacks right as Ganon is about to warp, you can actually do damage to him with the Tempered Sword.
And he takes 12 spin attacks to finish here in this phase.
All right.
Nice.
Very, very good.
So we're going to have time coming up as he goes through the transition here. And time. Let's give it up for Zelda. That was a super impressive run there.
Just so you guys know, that was a 124.08.
Damn.
Very close.
Meanwhile, we got both Andy and Blunt Bunny fighting Ganon here.
Yeah, for reference, I believe the second best time in the game is a 124.20.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So Zelda just beat everyone's run ever, except for his own.
Okay, Andy entering the final phase of Ganon, slightly ahead of Blunt here.
Turning blue.
He's going to use a safe strat and light this torch with the lamp, which makes it a little easier than the strat Zelda used with the fire rod. You only have one shot with the fire rod to hit the torch glitch, so.
Okay.
Okay, good. Blunt about to finish Ganon 2. There
Nice.
it is.
Looks like Joe's had a pretty clean tower.
He's
so
out of
far.
magic here, so he'll have to do. I don't know if he realized he didn't light that bottom one.
I think he's going to try his fire
Oh,
here.
he's going to use fire rod.
Okay.
Okay.
There's full magic refill in this room for the following one.
Coming up is the Moldorm 2 refight, and Joe's going to be killing Moldorm 2 and using the hook shot to cross the gap to a chest that appears. But earlier, Andy did a hover trick, which we never really explained what's going on with that.
I'll let you take that one.
If you're charging a dash, the game won't drop you over a pit, and it gives you one frame of leeway between dash charges where you can move and advance across the pit. So I believe that one requires 27 hovers, which is 27 frame perfect inputs to cross the gap, which is pretty tough.
Pretty tough.
It's pretty crazy that Andy was able to get that strat. You can see him showing it off over
Actually,
here.
he's doing something else here.
Yeah, you're seeing him do a bit of showboating here.
Yeah, he's doing something
Okay,
silly.
yeah. Are we going to see the infinite bonk?
Oh, no, we're not.
Oh.
Oh.
Nice.
All right.
So hopefully get a final clean Ganon fight here.
I have a $100 donation from the Great Awal of China saying, "You're nuts, Andy."
Right.
That's all it says.
Nothing else to say other than that.
We didn't really talk about how dangerous this fight is. Ganon does a lot of damage if you have just your basic green mail armor that you start the game with. Running into Ganon Sprite itself does 8 hearts of damage, which is completely ridiculous. It'll kill most players instantly.
Oh no.
Yeah, there it was. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Joe just confirming that it does in fact do 8 hearts for us.
And even most of his other attacks do 4 hearts of damage, which is pretty tough to deal with. Yeah, you got this, Joe.
I'm not sure we actually talked about how the fight actually works. So he
Yeah.
has 4 phases. The first 2 phases, you need to land 12 slashes, and as well as the second phase. So he spins the trident in the first one. If you land them quick enough, it will go straight to the fire bats.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, luckily that ring of fire bats he summons there only does 2 hearts, so he's able to survive that hit.
And then the third phase, you just need to attack him once to advance the tile collapse sequence across each of the 4 corners of the room. Yeah, Joe playing it safe there. Still going for the fire rod, not the lamp.
It's a very specific window to land these spins. This is a pretty tough fight to learn how to do.
Yeah, it's super common for players when they first start learning this game just to keep gold swords of arrows for quite a while, even the red mail. All right. Super guys. Well done, man. Great one. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. I guess just want to thank all the AGDQ staff, all the viewers, everyone here giving all this amazing support. Yeah, thank you guys as well. And the AOTTP community as a whole. I won't mention everyone, there's a huge amount of names. Personally, I'd just like to thank Crystal and Jaden, who first got me into this game and really inspired me to kind of learn this and be a part of the community. So I hope you're both doing well. Everything's good with you. and also to King Hippo, Prior, Kripe, and Doggy Sandwich, the guys who I used to play this game with when I first started. But thank you all.
Thank you so much. Give it up again, once again, to our Link to the Past runners. Give it up to them once more. We're going to be go ahead and kicking off to our commercial break. Welcome back, everybody, to Awesome Games Done Quick 2017. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit more donations before we head off to our next interview. Oh, boy. Meg Turney donates $500 saying, I tweeted that I'd give 500 more if Andy could pull off second place, and he did it. Congrats to all the runners, and this time I'm putting all of this towards killing those animals. $25 from KRob107 saying, shout-outs to my boy Joe D'Amelio for grabbing the frozen bird outside of Misery Mire. You never disappointed me, Joe. Keep up the good work, boys. Love, your favorite Link to the Past mutt, K-Rob. I got a $800 donation from Calder saying that the run this week continues to be awesome and quickly done. Special shout-outs to the world record-breaking awful block runners from last night. Money goes to the Super Dram World 5 Special Levels Incentive. Keep it up. $20 from Shibuti91 saying, this one goes out to an awesome Zelda runner, Test Runner. Thanks to you and all the people working behind the scenes. I have a $25 donation from Sean187 saying, 10 years ago, I was able to save a little boy's life from leukemia by donating bone marrow. Now it's time to donate to beat cancer completely. It's nice to see that Andy can play this game without cheating. Put this to his choice for an unmet incentive. Moonlight7 donates $30 saying, thank you to all the wonderful people who have worked hard to put on another great GDQ. For Christmas this year, I asked my family to donate to this great event instead of getting me presents. My brother-in-law took me up on it, and I told him that I would donate during the Link to the Past. Here's 30 for a great cause during my favorite game of all time. Thanks again to my brother-in-law for donating and to everyone who supports this event and preventing cancer. Thank you, Rogma, for your $100 donation. Glad to see the speedrunning community come together to do something this amazing each year. Hopefully this Link to the Past run will inspire my friend Lenny to run this game. Good luck to all the runners, and hopefully RNG will treat everyone all right. Save those animals. Nerf187 donates $50 saying, keeping my word and donating because Annie managed not to kick anyone's console. Astaria donates $5 saying, that godly run of A Link to the Past by Zelda deserves another donation. Too bad I can't give more though. Are you sure he's human? Nookie404 donates $20 saying, greetings from Hong Kong. I'm missing a lot of runs, but I'm glad I made it in time for the Link to the Past run. Congrats to Zelda for his amazing run, and good job everyone on their runs. Also, shout outs to 502 Crew.